हेलो एंड वेलकम। आज हम अनिल के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं। अनिल, a very hardworking, serious and diligent student who has been preparing for UPSC for quite a few years. हर बार प्रीलिम्स क्लियर कर लेना, लेकिन मेंस में जाकर के कहीं ना कहीं मामला अटक जाता है हर बार। Although he has good command over his optional subject, but he found that it is the GS which is the problem area, जहां पर वो क्वालिफाइंग मार्क्स नहीं ला पा रहा है और मेंस में उसकी गाड़ी आगे नहीं बढ़ पा रही है। This happened for quite a few years, and finally he faced a situation where it is his last attempt. In this attempt, he did not want to take any chances, and so he consulted someone who suggested him, why don't you rigorously practice the previous year's questions? अनिल heeded this advice. ये एडवाइस सुनकर उसने काफी प्रैक्टिस की प्रीवियस ईयर्स क्वेश्चंस की, एंड देन when he finally went to the exam hall, the mains, while giving the mains exam, surprisingly he found out that 63% questions were repeated from previous year's questions. Never before Anil had come out of the exam hall as confident and as happy as this time. But as unpredictable as UPSC is, इस बार हुआ क्या कि उसके ऑप्शनल स्कोर का नॉर्मलाइजेशन कर दिया यूपीएससी ने। यानी कि जो अनिल का स्ट्रॉन्गर एरिया था, जिसके बलबूते ही वुड ऑलवेज स्कोर वेरी हाई मार्क्स, दिस वाज नॉट द केस दिस टाइम, व्हिच मींस कि entirely his selection is now dependent on whether he scores good in GS papers or not. Let's see whether Anil is going to qualify in his last attempt or not. All right. Now, as we have discussed that Anil, a very hard-working, diligent student, right, preparing for IAS exam. So he has a good command over his optional subject, but falling behind in his GS score. So in his last attempt, he did not want to take any chances and decided to do rigorous solving of previous year's questions to maximize his score. Now, in his last attempt went exceedingly well, as we just discussed, right? Around 63% questions being repeated from the PYQs, right? However, due to the normalization of the optional marks, this time Anil's marks optional subject में considerably low रह गया, है ना, vis-a-vis the previous years. While the cutoffs for mains exam are as follows: cutoff in 2023, his previous attempt was 741. This time the cutoff, although has gone lower, 729, perhaps because of normalization of optional scores. Now this is the score that Anil has obtained. If we compare the previous attempt and his last attempt in the IAS exam 2024. So GS 1 to 4, as we can see, his score remained pretty low, 340, right? Essay paper he did all right. Optional was something that he did really good in, 280 marks. But total कितना बना? 735, यानी कि less than the cutoff, which was 741. And then the moment came, the final moment, the last attempt, and he went and gave the exam. Last attempt, essay he scored 120. Optional जहां पे 280 स्कोर किया था इसने last time, and consistently he's been scoring over 270, 280 marks. But due to normalization, now he's just stuck with 200 marks, यानी कि just 320. Everything now comes down to GS 1 to 4 में उसके क्या स्कोर रहेंगे, right? That will decide his total marks, and that will decide whether he crosses the cutoff of 729 or not. Let's see what is the scenario. Now this is the condition. The PYQs Anil solved. It helped him secure 50% marks in each of the PYQs. Of course, because familiarity of the concepts, he already had the points ready with him. जो वो पेपर में लिखने वाला है, he had the examples ready, he had the justifications ready, he had the diagrams, mapping, all of that ready to produce, rather reproduce in the exam. So that helped him score 50% in each of the question at least. And in rest of the question, right, he could manage just 30% in the questions. Now, with this data, we have to find out that has PYQ helped him to clear this exam, or even in his last attempt, he is going to get disappointed forever. Let's see for ourselves. Okay. ठीक है. So, as we can see, this case study, we have seen that 63%, this is the data point. Whenever we are solving case study, we must look at the data point. So 63% worth marks being repeated. तो अगर हम GS पेपर 1 to 4 की बात करें, GS पेपर 1 to 4, right? Each paper carrying 250 marks, right? This means a total of 1000 marks, right? 63% of this is what? Repeated question. यानी कि 63% of 1000 marks, right? यानी 630 marks is from PYQ, and the rest of is new paper, 370 marks, or we can say 37% of 1000 marks, right? 370 is the new one. Now the question is saying 50% he has scored in these questions and 30% in these questions, right? Right? So what would this mean? He will score, right? He will score 50% in the PYQs, यानी कि PYQ से जो उसका स्कोर बन जाएगा वो बन जाएगा 50/100 into 630, which comes out to be 315, while 30% of the marks in the rest, which will come out to be 30/100 into 370, which is 111. So his total GS score will be 426 marks. Now let's go back to the question and check for ourselves whether he'll be qualifying or not, right? Now here what we do is we write GS 1 to 4, he has got 426 marks, which means his total score will come out to be, right, 746 marks. Now we have to tell whether Anil will be able to clear the mains exam in his last attempt or not. First is, what is the marks Anil has obtained in GS 1 to 4? It is equal to 426. What is the difference between Anil's total marks and the cutoff marks? So let's find out. So 746 is the score that you obtained and the cutoff was 729. And since 746 is higher than 729 and difference is just 17 marks, right? It means that here the answer is 17, and here Anil will be able to clear the exam in his final attempt. Yes, with an advantage of plus 17 marks. Now each mark matters, and this extra 17 marks is going to help him get into the list with flying colors. Now the essence of this question was that what saved him? What saved Anil's dream? It was rigorous practice of previous year's questions. क्योंकि उसमें अगर 426, he would not have scored, right? Especially with 50% of the PYQs, 50% of the 630 marks, which is here, as we can see, 315 alone in the 630 marker, then his dream would have been destroyed at that very moment. So this case was not just for you to practice as a CSAT, as a case study, but also to emphasize how PYQs can not just help you get into the list with flying colors, but also at times can save your dream, can save your years of preparation and hard work from getting spoiled, from getting destroyed. Thank you.